Hello. So in this video, we're going to talk about George Saunders' short book, Fox 8, A Story. Short novel, novella maybe, or just a story, as the title suggests. This is very, very brief, and I mean, it's let me find the last number page. 49 pages, but we have several pages here, either with really large illustrations that take up most of the page, or even a couple of places where the whole pages are illustrations. So it's a very, very quick read. It's a good children's book, too. Although maybe not such a great children's book, because actually the writing style, it's non-standard English. And part of the reason for that is because this is told from the perspective of a fox who learns to write Yuman, Y-U-M-A-N in his spelling, but he learns to write English. And actually the book starts out, "Dear reader," D-E-E-R, R-E-E-D-E-R. So that gives you a sense right off the bat of the idiosyncratic spelling that the book uses. But interestingly enough, the idiosyncratic spelling is consistent. So, like, that's an interesting point, because if you look at old manuscripts of, like, early modern things, like stuff that was printed in the 16th century, the 15th century, things like this, spelling can vary wildly within the same document. In Fox 8, the spellings are consistently incorrect. So Yuman, Y-U-M-A-N, is used consistently. We don't have variations in the spelling. Now that's interesting, and I don't know if it means anything. I don't think it does, but it's an interesting thing to note. Actually, I think it does mean something. It tells us about Saunders' ability as a creative writer, because he, in this story, is taking on the perspective of what we might consider an inanimate, or not inanimate, an illiterate subject. This is a creature who fundamentally is not trained to read and write, but who does so anyway. And Saunders gives this character a distinct voice that's consistent and that works throughout the novel to remind us that this is a fox. So it opens, the book opens. "Dear reader, first may I say sorry for any words I spell wrong, because I am a fox, so don't write or spell perfect. But here is how I learned to write and spell as good as I do. One day, walking near one of your human houses, smelling all the interest with snout, I heard from inside the most amazing sound. Turns out what the sound was the human voice making words. They sounded great. They sounded like pretty music. I listened to those music words until the sun went down, when all of a sudden I was like, Fox 8, crazy nut, when sun goes down, world goes dark, skedaddle home or else there can be danger. But I was fascinated by those music words and desired to understand them totally. So came back night upon night, seated upon that window trying to learn. And in time so many words came through my ears and into my brain that if I thought upon them, could understand human pretty good if I hear it. What that lady in that house was saying was stories to her pups with love. When done, she would douse the light, causing dark. Then, due to feeling love, would bend down, putting snout and lips to the heads of her pups, which was called Goodnight Kiss. Which I got a kick out of that, because that is also how we show our love for our pups as foxes. It made me feel good, like humans could feel love and show love. In other words, some hopeful for the future of Earth." So, right off the bat, we've got a lot of stuff going on thematically in this book. We have the power of stories to literally change who this narrator is. Like, this is a fox that goes from being just a fairly run-of-the-mill fox to being effectively literate. Like, this fox has learned to speak English, or to understand English by hearing it. And he learns to read. He learns to write. So we've got the power of stories to remake subjects, to remake who we are, to the extent that we want to identify with this fox. We've also got this idea of humanity and our goodness, which is an open question throughout the book, as we'll see. So we go on, and the Fox 8 hears various stories. Some of them he disagrees with. The one about a fox tricking chickens and stealing their eggs, he disagrees with, etc., etc. But his mind, his thought process, is reshaped by the power of these stories. And then something changes in the lives of these foxes. They live in the woods, and a bunch of trucks show up and start basically destroying the woods. Fox 8 is able to read the sign that says, "Coming soon, Foxview Commons." What they don't know at the time is that this is a mall. And because of this construction, the fox's habitat is destroyed. They lose the woods where their prey lives, bugs, mice, that sort of thing. They lose the water because the water is contaminated by all of the dirt that goes into it, because the trees have been bulldozed out. And so they become increasingly malnourished, their coats go dull, their leader is paralyzed by the inability to solve this problem, etc., etc. And Fox 8, who goes and basically investigates what turns out to be a kind of a strip mall, or a mall proper, comes up with this plan to go into the mall, to the food court, and get some food and bring it back to support his group of foxes, which he does against the great leader's direct instructions. The great leader, the fox leader of this group, tells them don't go into the mall and don't try and get food. Fox 8, along with his friend Fox 7, go into the mall, and amazingly enough, people apparently give them food, rather than being like, hey, there's foxes in the mall, we should maybe get security or something like that. So they come out, and this is the dark part of the book, and this is a part of the book that I have a huge problem with, because I'm very not on board with cruelty to animals and depictions of violence against animals. But it's important for this story that it happens. So Fox 8 and Fox 7 come out of the mall. They can't find their way back because, unbeknownst to them, they've come out a different door than they went in. And then it says, there at the edge of parking was a team of 2 humans doing some digging. One was like, holy crap, foxes, as if he had never seen a fox before. My feeling was, yes, we are foxes. Hello, friends, we have just seen the wonder that is your mall. We congratulate you. We glimpsed your fake river, observed your cute young ones dancing, gladly accepted your generous gift of food. You are so nice. What a great day for the fox-human connection. Then that first human, quite huge, took off a blue hat he was wearing, and I was like, in my brain, it must be some form of salute. So did a fox salute back, which is reach out with front legs, bow, yawn. Only then, running toward us in a startling manner, he threw that hat at us. From the sound it made upon not hitting us, but only parking, I saw it must be made of rock. I gave Fox 7 a glance like, what did we do wrong? Then the other human, quite small, ran at us and threw his hat. And oh, my friends, what happened next is hard to write. because that hat wonked Fox 7 square in his face. And suddenly his knees go weak, and he gives me one last fond look and drops over on his side with blood trickling out his snout. I briefly tried to revive him by sniffing, but here comes the huge and the small human running as if in victory, making a noise that made my hair stand on my neck. And what could I do but flee? Glancing back while trotting, I saw the huge and small human doing such things to Fox 7 as further hits with their hats, and kicks and stomps while making dismal noises I had never heard a human make. As if this was fun. As if this is funny. As if they are proud of what they are accomplishing. Reaching a dirt clod big as me, I lay behind it, panting while shaking, which is when I saw the last straw of their cruelty, which was the small human picked up Fox 7, now dead, and flung him through the air. Poor Fox 7, my friend was a spinning wheel sailing, like something long with a weight at one end. And what did those humans do? Stood bent over, laughing so hard, then retrieved their cruel hats and went back to work, slapping hands, as if what they had done was good and cool and had made them glad. After this, Fox 8 reflects. He's now lost. He's separated from the rest of his pack. And he reflects, all I could think was, Fox 7 is dead and it's all my fault. Why had I ever had that dumb idea of entering the mall? Why was I born so weird? Why could I not be a simple fox, having no daydreams, speaking just fox, obeying my great leader? So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. There's obviously the eco-critical component, or the ecological component of this story, in which the fox's habitat is destroyed to make way for a mall, and the consequences of that for the foxes are disastrous. And I mean, and that's worth talking about at length. I think one of the most difficult and challenging components of this novel is the idea of human ethics and the idea of the ways, the casual cruelty with which human beings frequently treat others. Whether that's the environment, whether that's other living non-human creatures, whether that's other human beings, etc., etc. And this is a dark period for Fox 8. After Fox 7 is killed, he wanders through the woods for a lengthy period of time until his feet are bloody. He continues wandering, and he reflects that animals are generally happy in the world. That animals, the animals he passes, the birds, the cows, whatever it is, are generally content, and they think that the world is good. And Fox 8 no longer does. Because of this brutal murder of his friend whom he believes he put into a dangerous situation, Fox 8 is riven with recrimination, and he is depressed. He is disillusioned. He's also still unable to find his own pack of foxes. But finally he comes to a large woods and he can smell other foxes. And he joins this group of foxes. He joins a new pack and they share their food with him. They take him to the water to drink. And it's a reviving for him. It's a return, a reintegration into a community. But he's still sad. He's never going to be okay. And this is one of the key components of this novel. And one of the things is Fox 8 has this idea to bring the members of his old pack to these new woods where there's abundant food, abundant water, where the foxes can live and be happy and healthy and free. And he says of the new foxes, when I told them my daydream, they were like, cool, bring your friends here. We can all live together very happy. There's so much food here, it's like crazy. Would it be easy? It would not. It would take guts. But I have guts. I once licked the tire of a truck that was moving to see how it tasted, which the group teased me about because, hey, Fox 8, why not wait until one found a truck not moving? Would that not be easier? Only too bad. If this was a book, all it would take is guts, and I could have done it. But no, it was real life. For many weeks I tried to find my old foxes. My new friends even helped. But no way. We searched and searched, but never found my friends or even a trace of Foxview Commons. It's as if my beloved old group had fallen off the face of the earth. Goodbye, dear friends, I will not forget you. So again, we've got an interesting element where stories shape the way that this character engages with the world. When he says, if this was a book, it would be easy. This is a meta-literary moment. This is a moment where the book points to itself as a book and challenges the conventions, challenges what we would want to see as a happy ending. And it posits realism as an alternative. Now that's important and that's interesting because the question then becomes, how do you resolve this situation? How do you resolve Fox 8's psychological deadlock? And one of the things is that he's going to have babies with his new friend, Fox Smallnose, Alert and Funny, because in this group of foxes, their names are for characteristics rather than numbers. And so she is going to have his pups. And she kind of challenges him in terms of what type of father do you want to be to these pups. And he realizes that, Fox 8 realizes that he needs to find a way to heal. And so the end of the book, the end of the story, it says, so asked myself, what might somewhat retrieve the old and hopeful me? And replied, some answers, which is why I'm writing this letter to you humans. And so he explains that he's never seen humans cruel to one another. He believes fundamentally that humans can be nice. And he wants an explanation. He wants to know why these humans, these two humans, these construction workers, were so pointlessly cruel that they killed Fox 7 for no reason and celebrated it. And it's a poignant, gripping end to the story because, of course, we know that Fox 7 will not get answers to these questions.